Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Carmine from New York here, professional photographer here in Manhattan for 5 decades. This is class 262. Hit the subscribe button. Let's go. What are we going to discuss today? We're going to discuss this gorgeous 2016 Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II digital professional camera. Guys, in 2016, when this was introduced by Olympus, this took everyone by surprise. Nobody thought that a micro four thirds sensor camera would be considered professional. Well, Olympus did it. Olympus did such a good job that DP Review, which is still around for now, gave this an award that they almost never give out. They gave it the Gold Award, the DP Review Gold Award. This camera ranked so high in their review, it was beyond highly recommended. It was the Gold Award. Oh my goodness. I just want to go down a few things that I use in this camera that I have to tell you about. Now, the lens, you're looking at the lens. Of course you're looking at the lens. That's what we do, we're photographers. This is the Olympus image stabilized 100 to 400 millimeter lens. Now, forget that it's all metal construction barrel. It's image stabilized. This lens, because this camera has a 2x crop factor, this is a 100 to 400 times 2. Yeah, it's a 200 to 800 millimeter lens. I have so much to tell you about this, but let's look at a quick picture that I took today with this camera. I have 15 photographs that I want to show you throughout this video, so you better stick around because some of the photographs are going to knock you off your chair. All right, let's keep going. Now, let's start with the features that I don't use in this camera. I don't use the professional video that's in this camera. This video takes cinema, DC, as well as UHD 4K video. It has a flippy screen that goes to the front, so you could do your vlogging. I don't use this camera for video at all. But my friends asked me, see if it has a headphone jack. Absolutely it does. See if it has a microphone jack. It absolutely does have a microphone port, I think it's called, and a headphone port. Okay. Now let's get into why this photojournalist picks up this camera at least once a week when I head outside for my long walk. I took this camera out today in a state park here in New York, and you could consider it landscape. Consider it nature. It's consider it wildlife. So you saw what this camera can do. While we're enjoying the photographs, let me just go over a few top points about this camera. First of all, you want to know how much it costs. Used, just the body, is $600 average used. Lens, of course, you have to add a couple of $100 for the lens. I highly recommend you get this grip. It's the Olympus HLD9 battery grip. It'll give you such a better grip both horizontally and vertically. Okay, now 20 megapixel sensor, which is attached to an in-body stabilization rack with 5 axes of stabilization. While we're talking about stabilization, of course you could turn it on and off. Let's say you wanted to do a pan photograph this way, right? There's a setting in here where you turn off the left to right stabilization, but it maintains the up and down stabilization, okay? Now, here's another thing. There's 2 schools of thought when it comes to Olympus image stabilized bodies, like this OMD E-M1 Mark II. It has clearly the best image stabilization on the market for 2016, okay? Now the lens also has an image stabilizer, an optical image stabilizer built in. Here's the 2 schools of thought. Some schools will tell you if you've got the camera IBIS on, turn the lens IBIS stabilization off. Some say leave them both on. Here's what Carmine from New York does. When I'm out taking landscape photographs, I'll take one photograph in RAW. Well, actually what I do is I put it on, take a RAW and a highest quality JPEG, okay? So I have it set on in-body stabilization, all 5 axes, right? I'll take a picture with that, and the lens is off stabilization. Then I'll take a second picture with both the camera and the lens stabilizers on. And it's like a test I do every single time I take this camera out. And to be frank with you, I kind of like when they're both on at the same time. Which goes against everything that's written, even Olympus themselves. And this is an Olympus lens and this is an Olympus body. But I have found through trial and error, I like with this giant lens, okay, this is pretty heavy. You're looking at over 20 elements, 20 glass elements in this lens with a metal body and a motor in there for the stabilizer. All right, it's pretty big. There's no getting around it. Plus, when you add the hood, right, it comes with a hood, or if you're buying it used, make sure you buy a hood, right? This is, the hood for it is the LH76D, and that goes right on the front. So you add all these parts together, you got a big behemoth system. So I do leave both on. If I think about it, I'll take a shot with it with the lens off. I always leave the camera stabilizer on. I'll take one with lens stabilizer on, one without it on. I fool around, but generally I leave both on. You know what I mean? This is completely against what Olympus says. All right, let's keep going. It has 121 focus points. What do I use? 1 point in the center. And I might put it up 2 spots if I'm out taking street photography. Because if you put the center spot up 2 spots, right, the camera will come down a little bit and you'll get more of the person instead of more of the just air above their head. So keep that in mind. Hold on to your socks. 18 frames per second with continuous autofocus, or wait for this, 60 frames per second in burst mode, 60 frames per second in burst mode. Weather sealed. Everywhere there's a hole, whether it's a dial or a switch or a lens, there's a rubber gasket. Here's what I love. ISO range. Listen to how nice and low this is. 64 on the low end and 25,600 on the high end. So you can set it yourself. You set your ISO to anywhere it's from 64 up. Or what I do, I like to put it on a range on auto ISO. 64 to like 1600, like that. I put it on a nice range. Never a problem with noise. Okay. Dual as in 2 SD card slots. And the sky's the limit with the, more or less, with the size of the cards you use. I happen to have in here, let's make sure it's off. I happen to have in here two 232s. 232 gig SanDisk high speed cards. Okay? And the way I do it, if I'm just out for myself, I'll have the first card fill and then it overflows to the second. That's how I do it. But if I'm on a paid job, I will have them both right at the same time. Every picture goes to 2 cards. Okay? And here's why. Very simple. This is 2023. Many times when I go out on a job for a client that knows me and we've worked together before, the job is done right after the photo shoot. I'll pop out the card, one of them, give them to the client. I'll get my check and we're done. They take those images, the RAW and the JPEG, and they go out and they'll go to a photo finisher and they're on their own. They'll go to a printer, they'll go to a book publisher, and they'll just say, here's the shots, we'll pick them out. This is the new wave of photojournalism, okay? You take one card out, you hand it to them. I usually have a big case that I put it in, and they'll hand me my check. They haven't seen if one photograph came out, but like I said, this is only for clients that I've worked with before, and it's all about trust, okay? So I have a card with all the photos on it, say if they lose theirs, right? Or if it gets stolen, welcome to New York. I'll have a card in backup and I just save it. I'll upload it on my computer, put it on a external hard drive, and there it is, safe forever. Okay. All right, now the battery, okay? Is it off? Good. So here's the battery grip over here. You open this up. All right, and here's the battery. Look at the size of this battery. This is pretty damn big. All right, as you can see, I use Wasabi brand. Guys, come on. You know they're not a sponsor. This is just what I use. Wasabi. These batteries will give you 440 shots. That's a lot. So what do? You have a bunch of them in your bag. At this point in my age, and my experience level, what is my camera bag? My pockets. I have batteries in one pocket, extra memory cards in the other pocket, and if it's a zoom lens like this, I don't even take a spare lens. This is the way it is. I know the gig I'm going to, I know what to expect, right? Of course, back in the day when I did weddings, I had multiple bags, multiple lenses, multiple bodies. Okay. So that's the battery. Now, like I promised you, I have 15 photographs in black and white, color. Some are of wildlife, some are landscapes, some are on the ocean. Enjoy the photographs. you know what I want you to do? Go to my website, CarmineTaverna.com. It's a free website. You can't even buy a t-shirt. It's my website with over 5,500 photographs to give you inspiration on things to photograph and how I photograph things. And you'll be inspired because sometimes you just don't know what to photograph. All the photographs I took today that you're seeing were taken with this camera and lens. Very simple, aperture priority, f8. It's the way I go because like I've told you in many videos, f8 is the sweet spot on 99% of lenses out there. Okay, and my ISO, I just told you, I put it on auto ISO 64 to around 1600. Today was a very bright and beautiful day. Okay, what else do I want to tell you? Oh, I got a couple of emails from people saying that my audio sounds a little bit better on these videos. So thank you very much for noticing. So I bought this right now, right? So this is the Comica brand microphone that I'm using. It's the CVM-VM10 Roman numeral 2 micro cardioid condenser shotgun microphone. All right, this is the microphone I'm using for this video and the last video. All right, I've got a lot of nice compliments on this sound quality. Goodbye from New York City. This has been Carmine from New York.